Hello dear students, I am Dr. Shikha Pandey, Associate Professor from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. Today I am going to discuss on the topic that is conservation of water, that is by the development of watershed and by rainwater harvesting. Means we are going to focus on the topic on the conservation of water, because water is a very important natural resource and every life depends on water only. Without water, existence of life is not possible. So it is an indispensable natural resource on this earth on which all life depends. Means our life, all biotic components that is present on the earth, their life is dependent on water. And we can't survive our life without water. That's why water is a very important natural resource, and it's a existence of a human being is not possible without water. So the in our daily activity we will do washing, cooking, any work that is not possible without the use of water. So now this is a picture that is related with the percentage of water that is present on the earth. So in this picture it is reflected that only 70% of the total earth surface is covered with the water in the form of ocean. Means in the only the 70% of the earth surface is covered with the water only, and that will be in the form of ocean. Means ocean water is the sour water, so this will be not usable for the human purpose only. So in out of which about 97% is not fit for human consumption. As we know, ocean water is a sour water, so it will be not fit for the human consumption. So in 97%, about 2% is locked as a glacier. In the 97% is not fit for human being. So in now comes to the rest 3%. 3% is available. So among 3%, 2% is locked as a glacier, and only less than 1%, means less than 1% is available for the human use, available as a fresh water that can be used for human consumption and other uses. So this is the scenario of total water that is present on the earth. So first of all, you can see that this is 96% is the total global water representation is there, in which 96% of the 0.5 is the ocean waters. Means they are saline water or they are sour in nature. Saline water or sour in nature. So it is not fit for human consumption. And among this 2.5% is now converted to here, like the percentage of among 2.5%, which percentage is there. So in which groundwater is there, and then 68% is locked in the glacier and ice caps. Means that is also not available for the human consumption. And among this 1%, that is surface water and fresh water, only this 2% of water, surface water and fresh water, we can use for our daily purpose, that will be available for a human being. So from this, some lake is there, ground ice and permafrost is there. So surface water and the fresh water is there, in which only 3% that is present in the atmosphere, and this percentage of water we can use for human consumption and other our household uses. That's why water is a very important natural resource, because very less percentage of water is available as a fresh water that we can use for our consumptive uses. So and our life is totally related with the water only, because our life is totally dependent on water for cooking purpose, washing purpose, cleaning purpose. For any purpose, we are totally dependent on water. Our existence of a human being is not possible without water. So that the water is a very important natural resource, and it's fresh water that will be available for a human being use is a very less percentage is there. That's why it is very important to use water in a sustainable manner, because its consumption and overuse will lead sometimes it will leads to the vanish of the water. Then water will not get water, as we already know in the Karnataka area no groundwater is there due to this over consumption or over exploitation of water resources. That's why this water resource is a very important natural resource. Now comes to the next thing. This is about, we can say that Water is a very unique natural resource. Water is a very unique natural resource. So why it is very unique? Because it exists as a liquid over a wide range of temperature from 0 degrees to 100 degrees Celsius. It will exist in all three states, like liquid state, gaseous state, and solid state. So, and it has a very highest specific heat, due to which it warm ups and cool down very slowly without causing shock of carriers of nutrients and premature jerks of the aquatic life. And next point is that it has a very high latent heat of vaporization. That's why it's take a huge amount of energy for getting vaporized. That's why it produces an effects, cooling effects as it evaporates. When water starts evaporating, you can see that some cooling effect is there. That is, so it is because of this heat of vaporization, and it has a highest specific heat, and due to which it warms up and cool down very slowly. Next is that it acts as an excellent solvent for several nutrients. Thus, it can serve as a very good carrier of nutrients. That's why water has a very unique natural resources, because it will be present in all three states: liquid state, water state, liquid, water, and gaseous states. Next point is that it has a highest specific heat, so that it will warm up and cool down very slowly. And next thing is that it has the highest latent heat of vaporization, so it takes a huge amount of energy for getting vaporized. That's why it produces a cooling effect when it starts evaporating. Next point is that it acts as an excellent solvents for many nutrients, and that's why it will be act as a good carrier of nutrients. Now, water resource uses and its over exploitation. What are the uses? We are going to discuss about the uses of water resource and its exploitation. Water resource and its exploitation means why it is exploited nowadays. So what will happen? Due to its unique properties, water has a multiple use for all living organisms. That's why it is very much important. Water is absolutely essential for a life. Most of the life process takes place in water contained in the body. Uptake of nutrients, their distribution in the body, regulation of temperature, and removal of waste are all mediated through water. So what will happen? At it will the uptake of nutrients and its distribution in the body, and then regulation of temperature, it and then removal it as a waste is all mediated through by the activity of water only. So, and human being is depends on water for every purpose. Either we already know. And next point is that water is used for drinking, irrigation, transportation, washing, and waste disposal for industries, and used as a coolant for thermal power plant. So this is a very important use of water. Like for a human being, we will use it in drinking, irrigation, transportation, washing, and waste disposal. For many industry, it acts as a coolant also in a thermal power plant. Next is that water shape the earth's surface and regulate our climate also. So it will shape the earth's surface and regulates the climate also in on this earth. That these are the very unique properties, and these are the uses of water resource. Like it has a multiple use for all living organisms, and all living organism is totally dependent on water, because all works that is related with a human being is like drinking, irrigation, transportation, washing, waste disposal will not possible without water. And the earth's surface and regulate the climate. Water shapes the earth's surface and it will regulate the climate change, climates also. So this is about the water cycle. Hydrological cycle means different pathways of water, how the water passes from one form to another form. So this one number is a precipitation. Means precipitation means rainwater. You can see that this one number is the rainwater. Water is coming onto the earth surface, and then infiltration is there. This rainwater will leach into the earth surface, will leach into the groundwater, and then it enters into the earth, so soil or groundwater. So this is the infiltration system. You can see that groundwater through rainwater, water is going to the infiltration. Infiltration is there. Next point is the transpiration. Transpiration is water, the water that will be formed in the form of vapors will again mix up with the atmosphere. So this is the process of transpiration, means by the trees and all, with the they are producing water by the process of transpiration. Next is the surface runoff. This 4 number is the surface runoff. You can see that water after coming from rain, water is collected here, and this is called as surface runoff. Surface runoff, it will goes and enters into the fresh water and like that. And then 5 is the next step, that is evaporation step. So this surface water or water from the rivers or surface water will evaporates, and it will evaporate and going to mix with the clouds, and this process is called as condensation process. So this is a whole water cycle. This is the representation of a water cycle, how water changes one form to another form, and how water travels in the atmosphere, and how again it will comes to the atmosphere, and this cycle is going on. With this cycle, water resource is a changing their form from one form to another form only, and that will be present in the atmosphere only. These are the 6 steps related with the water cycle. First one is the precipitation, then infiltration, transpiration, surface runoff, evaporation, and condensation. These are the 6 steps that is involved in the hydrological cycle. Now comes to the next point, that is watershed management. So in this lecture, we are discussing the modern way to conserve the water. What are different ideas we can do to conserve the water, because conservation of water is very much important. So by the development of a watershed, we can collect water, or we can conserve the water. So first of all, what is this watershed? Watershed is a geographical area through which water flows across the land and drains into the common body of water, like on a like on a stream, river, lakes, or ocean. This is called as watershed. It is a kind of geographical area onto which water flows across the lands and drains into the common body of water, like in a weather or a stream. So a geographical area has been made for the collection of water into the that will leads to the water into a proper path, so that it will not cause any harm, or it will collected in a proper manner, so that water should be conserved either in a stream or river or lake. So this watershed will help you by the we can avoid floods also. The next is that the watershed boundary will more or less follow the highest ridge line around the stream channel and meet at the bottom or lowest point of the land where water flows out of the watershed, and the mouth of waterways means means like that watershed has been made. You can see in the picture, watershed has been made and divided into different streams, so that it will come to the lowest point of land where the water flows out of the watershed and the mouth of waterways. And if will conserve water like this manner, in a watershed manner, so due to this infiltration, the process of infiltration, that water will enters into the groundwater, and it is the best method for groundwater recharge. So watershed management has been done for groundwater recharge, means this will recharge the groundwater that is already present. What will happen in the watershed? Water is collected at a place, rainwater, when rainwater is collected at a place, and then through the different paths, some paths has been made, stream channels has been made, and then that will go and meet at the bottom or lowest point of the land where water flows out of the watershed, the mouth of the waterways. In this way, that water will infiltrate, and this by the process of infiltration, it will recharge the groundwater. So this was about the watershed management. Means watershed management has been done, and it is a kind of a geographical area which will change the water flow across the land and drains into a common body of water, whether like a stream or rivers or lakes or oceans. So this was and about the watershed management. So it is a process of implementing land use practices and water management practice to protect and improve the quality of water and other natural resources within a watershed. So this process will implement by the use of two type of practice. First one is the land use practice and second is the water management practices. These two practices has been made to protect and improve the quality of water and other natural resources in a given watershed. And there some are the different objectives of watershed management. Like first of all, different objectives related with the watershed management is that it will leads to the objectives, like it will leads to the pollution control. These are the benefits we will get by this watershed management. First of all is the pollution control. Next is the minimizing over exploitation of natural resources. It will leads to minimization, or it will leads to reduction in the over exploitation of resources. Then we'll do it in water storage is there, flood control, checking sedimentation is there. We'll check the sedimentation also. It will control the flood and water storage is there. Next is the wildlife preservation. It will this flood is there and flood will automatically enters into into a wildlife area. So it will preserve the wildlife also. Next is the very important point. It will conserve the soil erosion and prevents the erosion of soil also. Next is the recharging groundwater to provide regular supply of water. So these are the important benefits and objectives related with this watershed management. This watershed management has many benefits, like it will control the pollution, minimize and the over exploitation of natural resources. It will helps in the storage of water, flood control and checking sedimentation. It leads to the preservation of wildlife. Next is the soil erosion control and prevention of soil also. Next is the recharging groundwater recharging, and it will provide a regular water supply also. Now the objectives, what are the different objectives for this watershed management? So this we have kept all this point in the mind for this watershed management. This practice is very much beneficial in controlling and damaging runoff and degradation and thereby conservation of soil and water. Like next is that it will helps in manage and utilize the runoff water for useful purpose, and it will going to protect, conserve and improve the land of watershed for more efficient and sustained production. It will protect and enhance the water resource originating in the watershed. It will protect and enhance the water resources that will be originated from this watershed. It will help to check in the soil erosion and to reduce the effects of sediment silts on the watershed, to rehabilitate the deteriorating land also. It will rehabilitate the deteriorating land, like it will preserve the soil nutrients, or it will be bring back the fertility of topsoil also. And next is to moderate the flood breaks at the downstream areas, to increase infiltration of rainwater, to improve and increase the production of timber, fodder and wildlife resources. It will helps in the increase of the production of timber, fodders and wildlife resources. Means this watershed management has multiple uses and it is very much beneficial for everything, and it will enhance the groundwater recharge whenever applicable. So it is this watershed management has a very much important. Watershed management has many benefits, like it will control the runoff, surface runoff, and it will manage the runoff water by for useful purpose. It will protect, conserve and improve the land of watershed for more efficient and sustained production. It will going to protect and enhance the water resource originating in the watershed, and it will rehabilitate the deteriorating quality of land. And next is it will moderate the flood peaks at a downstream. It will increase the infiltration of rainwater. In this way, groundwater recharge will be there. So these are the benefits that is related with this watershed management. Now comes to the important significance that is related with the watershed management is like, first of all, is it will going to control the pollution. Means what will happen, runoff from rainwater or snow melt will contribute significant amount of pollution into the lake or river. So this watershed management is going to control the pollution, like different channels has been made. Through different channels water has been collected at a proper place. Next is the identifies and regulate ecological hazardous activity. It will all activities that occurred within a watershed somehow affects its natural and water qualities also. It will enhance the partnership among the stakeholders also. What will happen in a watershed management has been planning results in enhanced partnership with the stakeholders in the watershed, which is essential for the successful management of land and water resource. Means this will be helpful for the successful management of land resource and water resource, and they will be enhance the partnership in between the stakeholders in the watershed, that is essential for the proper management of the land and water resource. Next, come to the next point, that is inclusive growth. So inclusive growth means it will refers to economic growth that is distributed fairly across society and creates opportunity for all. Means it will provide opportunity for all the people. And next is the watershed management is key for sustainable and inclusive growth also. This watershed management will lead to you toward this sustainable development. And next point is that it will in a drought prone rained area, watershed management has shown a potential of doubling the agriculture productivity. Means it will double the agriculture productivity and assisting the rural family through increased water availability and diversifying the cropping and farming system, that will result in a diversified income also. What will happen with this watershed management? It has a great potential of doubling the agriculture productivity, and this will help to the families. They are poor family. They will get more money with this diversified income, diversified cropping and farming system that has been adopted by this watershed management. So this you can see that this watershed planning will be possible with proper land use planning and water management practices, so that will achieve this watershed management. And this watershed management will has a benefits for the agriculture also, because in a drought prone area they are collecting the rainwater in at a place where they have used it for agriculture purpose, for irrigation purpose, and in this way their productivity has been doubled, and the families through increase, and that is beneficial for the families for through the increased water availability and diversifying cropping and farming system, that will result into the diversified source of income. So this was about the watershed management. Now comes to the next management of water, that is rainwater harvesting. This is another method for the conservation of rainwater. Means for the conservation of rainwater, we can make a rainwater harvesting system. Rainwater harvesting is a technology that is used for collecting and storing water for human use in the rooftop or land surface or rock catchment. Means this rainwater harvesting is a kind of technology that has been developing now for collection of rainwater in a rooftop of a building, or sometimes on a surface land or in a rock catchment. So it is a very important ancient water supply techniques also. It was practiced more than 4,000 years ago, and it is a beginning to enjoy resurgency in popularity. Now comes to the next point. This is like the rainwater is an important water source in many areas with significant rainfall, but lacking any kind of conventional centralized supply system. So rainwater is there in a more amount. So sometimes many area, if we will collect the rainwater at a proper place, like in a rock catchment or a land surface or on a rooftop, so it will going to recharge through the infiltration. It is going to recharge the groundwater also. Due to this, and it will helps in the human use, like human daily works, and it will helps in irrigation also. So this is the benefits of the rainwater harvesting. It will you can use this water as in a household purpose, irrigation purpose. And next is the you can use this water for groundwater recharge. This is a very important point regarding this water conservation through the process of rainwater harvesting. Now comes to the next point, that is we are going to discuss about the advantages of rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting technologies are simple to install and operate. It is a very simple to install and operate. Local people can be easily trained to implement such technologies, and construction material are also readily available. And next is the running cost are almost very less. Water collected from roof catchment usually has to acceptable quality of domestic purpose. So main benefits of this rainwater harvesting is that it will be running cost is very less, and it can be any local person can be easily trained by with this technologies and construction material, and it will readily available in anywhere. Water collected from roof catchment usually is of acceptable quality of domestic purposes only, and it is a very simple technology to install and operate. And next is the use of what are the uses of this rainwater again. So it will help in the recharge of groundwater, gardening, livestock farming. Next is the drinking purpose and irrigation purpose. So we can use this rainwater in many ways, like a recharge of the groundwater, then gardening, then livestock, then drinking purpose and irrigation purpose also. So these are the different categories where you can utilize this rainwater harvesting. And this rainwater harvesting is a very simple technique, and it is very easy to operate, or it is very easy to install also. So this was, and running cost is also very less. That's why this rainwater harvesting is very important, and it is to be installed at every home or every places or in a rock catchment. So it will helps in the recharging of the groundwater. Now comes to the next point, that is the different methods for rainwater harvesting. So rainwater harvesting can be done by two methods. First one is a surface runoff harvesting, means river water. Next is a rooftop harvesting system, that is in the buildings. It is installed on the roof of a building. So it will install in the roof of the building. So it will collect the water. So what will happen in this surface runoff harvesting? In urban areas, the rainwater flows away in the surface runoff. This runoff could be caught and used for recharging aquifers by adopting appropriate practice methods. Next is the rooftop harvesting. It becomes the catchment. Roof will become the catchment, and the rainwater is collected from the roof of the house or building, and this method is very less expensive and very effective methods. On the roof, that rainwater is collected in a catchment area, and then after collection it will stored in a tank, and then it can be used for many purposes, and this is a very less expensive and very effective rainwater harvesting method also. So, and this is the explanation of its this rainwater harvesting system. First thing is that a catchment area is there. So in if we'll talk about a rooftop, so in a rooftop, the surface that receive rainfall directly is the catchment of rainwater harvesting system. So it may be a terrace, country yard, or paved or unpaved open ground. So those area that will receive the groundwater directly is called as catchment. So catchment is, it may be a roof, it may be a courtyard, whatever is there. Next is the conveyance of this rainwater. So how it will go. Rainwater from rooftop should be carried through down takes water pipes or drains to storage or harvesting system. Water pipe should be UV resistance, because like it will be ISI, SDP or PVC pipes of required capacity. So from rooftop, this should be carried down through water pipes or drains to store in or for a harvesting system also. Next point is that treatment and storage of this rainwater. First plus is a device used for flush off the water received in the first shower. The first shower of rain needs to be flushed off to avoid contaminating storable or rechargeable water by probable contamination of the atmosphere and of the catchment roof also. It will also help in cleaning of silt and other material deposited on a roof during dry season. Provision of rainwater, a first rain separator should be made at outlet of each drain pipeline. Next is the storage system is there. In a storage system, collected rainwater was stored in a tank or barrels. Next point is the delivery system. In the delivery system, it is the system to deliver of water for the uses, and there are the uses of water pumps to take out water from tank and deliver for many purposes. So this was the delivery system of the this rainwater. There are uses of pumps. Many pumps is there to take out water from tank and deliver it for many purposes. And next is the why this rainwater harvesting is very important. So this rainwater is very important because rainwater is a precious resource due to increase in demand from our ever growing population. So change in rainfall pattern in the UK have seen both drought condition and flooding condition also. So to avoid these two type of condition like drought condition and flood condition, drought condition and flood condition. To avoid both type of condition, flood condition, this rainwater harvesting is very helpful. It will stop the drought and flood also. And next is the rainwater harvesting can provide around 50% of the family water needs. This only not only save water but save monies also and reduces our impact on the environment. So to inculcate a culture of water conservation, it will reduce the soil erosion. So this rainwater harvesting has a very much advantages, and it is very much beneficial for the conservation of these natural resources, and it will avoid the flood also, it will avoid the drought also, it will stop the soil erosion, it will recharge the groundwater aquifers. So there are too much benefits related with this water harvesting. And this nowadays what rainwater harvesting is a very common practices that has been made at every city, almost all the cities. Now comes to the rainwater harvesting status in India. In India, government has made mandatory to do this rainwater harvesting. So in Tamil Nadu, rainwater harvesting was made compulsory for every building to avoid groundwater depletion. This is like in Tamil Nadu area, all buildings has to equipped with this rainwater harvesting system, means roof of every building. So they will collect the groundwater and recharge this rainwater and recharge the groundwater also, and this will leads to the stopping the depletion of groundwaters. Next, in the state of Rajasthan, rainwater harvesting was traditionally been practiced by the people in the Thar desert, because this Rajasthan area is a drought prone area. So this is very much beneficial for the drought prone area, and in the Bihar region is the flood prone area, Assam region is the flood prone area. So in this area, rainwater harvesting should be practiced to stop the flood also. Next is in the Pune, Maharashtra, rainwater harvesting is compulsory for any new society to be registered. So this is the status regarding this rainwater harvesting in our country. So this lecture was about the conservation of water through different practices, watershed management or rainwater harvesting. Both of the practices will help into the groundwater recharge, and this groundwater recharge will stop the depletion of groundwater resources. So if groundwater is already present in a good amount, then that area will not become a drought prone area or like flooded area. So this rainwater harvesting, this conservation of water is a very much important, because water is a very precious natural resources. Thank you for today's lecture.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.